Tony Nadal stood pondering as he watched his young nephew play. The boy was something of a prodigy. He had both a double-fisted backhand and forehand. They sparkled with formidable potential. His older opponents were completely bamboozled by the power of his strokes and his ability to find the angles during rallies. Surprisingly, Tony chose to tell his nephew to take one hand off his forehand. Initially, that might have felt uncomfortable for the youngster. But in time, that decision gave birth to one of the most iconic strokes in tennis history, the Rafael Nadal forehand. This is a stroke which has produced such scintillating moments of beauty and adrenaline. From down the line to cross court, from inside out, and much more. It has fluctuated between the destructive power of an intercontinental ballistic missile on one side and the delicate dexterity of a surgeon's scalpel on the other. It has added so much to the Rafael Nadal legend. Yet, fundamentally, it was born out of a subtraction process. Our usual inclination is to add more inputs whenever we are confronted with a problem or challenge. The more people we have to work on it, the more money we have at our disposal, the more access we have to systems and technology, the more likely we are to solve the problem. Or so we think. Mies van der Rohe, one of the greatest architectural minds of the last century, articulated this concept succinctly when he said, "Less is more." Debate still rages whether that is more or less what he said. But on a more serious note, there is a decisive sharpness to those words which penetrate through any matter we might be presently thinking about. Choosing to eliminate some things, or at least not focusing on them, opens the windows of our perspective, often resulting in clearer and more creative thinking. They nudge the door to cutting-edge innovation. Somewhere deep within, we all have this tendency to hold on to things. Think of how much irrelevant data managers ask for before making their plans. Reflect on how students hoard notes from various sources on the same subject before a competitive examination. How much of it do they really end up using in both cases? Experimenting with letting things go, even pondering what would happen if we eliminated them completely, really empowers the ideation process. One of the reasons for the success of Google is that early on, when many websites were focused on becoming all-encompassing portals, think Yahoo, Google chose to position itself as only a search engine. It bravely went against the prevalent tide of the moment, choosing instead to search for its own unique niche in the market. All puns intended. As a result of this concentrated effort, the audience began to build the perception that Google, because it just did that one thing, must be very good at it. All internet searches soon began ending up at Google. Moov, which began in the late 80s as an Indian lubrication brand, entered a market which was dominated by age-old heavyweight balms and creams. These promised a host of pain relief, anatomically speaking, ranging from head to toe aches. Unable to take on the legacies it was up against head-on, Moov chose to focus on one part of the human body, the back. Put another way, it perceived its area of opportunity and simply backed into it. It began to find its way into several medicine cabinets across Indian households. It has never looked back since. Just as a reduction in the waistline allows one to run longer and stronger, so also taking away elements from a situation allow one's mind to really take off. Eventually, less is more in processes from dieting to engaging in the search for better ideas.